dust, nothing in it. And then you don't want to get any of your yolks in with the white, or it won't form the peaks that we need. So just separate your eggs.
Yeah, they're tasty today.
Okay, I'll give everybody a few minutes to separate your eggs. And then the recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of sugar, and I separated those for you because you're going to put 1 container of sugar in the whites and 1 container of sugar in the yolks. Trying to see. Okay, so we'll put the yolks aside, and what we're going to do is we're going to form the meringue part of our tiramisu. So you're going to do the whites with your 1 container of sugar, and I'm going to mute because it's going to be very loud. But we're going to want to do it till it's very stiff peaks, and you'll watch me do the mixer after it starts getting thick. Is I'll put the blades down and bring it up and see how stiff the peaks are. Okay, can everybody see how stiff the peaks are? Do I still have myself on mute? We're good? Okay. Well, I see people have their nice KitchenAid mixers, which I have one of those at home. But here at the market, my mixers are way too big to be doing something this small. Okay, so the reason that we're doing the egg whites first is because you can actually go from the egg whites to the egg yolks without rinsing your beaters. But if we would have started the other way around, we would have had to rinse and clean our beaters and make sure that there was no egg yolk before we started with the whites. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with the yolks, but with the yolks, the longer you beat it, then it gets a very pale yellow. And we're never going to get the stiff peaks like we got on the white, but you'll start noticing once it gets really thick that when you bring your beaters through it, that it'll hold ripples and then it'll fade back in and go into the liquid. And that's where we want to be. At first, it's just going to be liquid, 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 and it just, you can see the ripples as you're going through, but there's no hold to it. So we basically want to get a hold to the ripples. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on and show you how it holds the ripples for just a second before it fades in. So basically it's pretty much done. So to me, that's perfect. So I'll wait a minute until everybody thinks that they're at the same place. So basically when I take the blades through it, it holds the shape for just a second. Think we're about there? Thumbs up. So this container is your mascarpone cheese. And so you just go ahead and you put all of this in with the egg yolk mixture. So you're going to want to turn your mixture on very low, and you just want to incorporate the two mixtures together. You don't want to overbeat it because then it will make it like too liquidy. Okay.
Am I unmuted? I have a question, Cindy.
Yes.
On my KitchenAid, would you be using the whip on this part or the paddle?
On this part, I went ahead and used my whip, but I turned it all the way low.
Okay.
You're just going to incorporate the two. You don't want to make them get any softer.
And how about when I did the egg yolk? If you were at home doing it, would you have used the whip or the paddle?
For the egg yolk? For the egg yolk, I use the mixer. And emulsion mixers don't seem to do as well as a hand mixer or a KitchenAid stand-up mixer.
But on the KitchenAid, would you use the whip or the paddle thing?
Oh, I'd use the whip. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now I understand what you're saying. Yes. The only time I use a paddle is for a batter, such as like a cookie. Or some quick breads that are thick enough you can use a paddle on. So this is thick and it's a very nice consistency.
Thank you.
So you are going to need a spatula. And basically what we're going to do is when you look at the egg whites now, you see how they fall apart like a meringue because we let them sit for a minute. You see how they're very thick like a meringue. We're going to put those in with the egg yolk mixture. And it's important not to stir. You have to fold this. You cannot stir or to break down the egg whites. So you basically go underneath and bring the bottom over it. And you just keep doing this enough until it's mixed thoroughly. But you never stir. If you stir the egg white mixture, you'll break it down to a liquid. And if you do have a problem where your mixture isn't set, sometimes, first time, second time, just depends, something won't set. What you can do is you can put your entire tiramisu in the freezer and pull it out and eat it while it's very cold, and it'll set up enough that you can eat it. You basically want to do this until you don't see any more white. And it's kind of good if you've never made tiramisu, just go ahead and stick your finger and taste this because you won't believe how sweet this is. Because when you eat tiramisu, you don't realize how actually sweet the mixture is because the bitterness of the coffee tones it down.
Cindy, I
Okay,
have a question. Cindy, this is
Oh.
Pat. I have a question. What about
Sure.
the concern of the raw eggs?
Well, if you ever eat an over easy egg or you know, an egg that's not totally scrambled, there's no difference here. And I think that the misconception is a lot of times people feel that you can get bacteria or something from the actual egg, and usually it's actually from the shell. So you should always wash your eggs before you use them. All your eggs were rinsed before I put them in the containers.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, the shells are probably the biggest because they're touching things and they're going through a processing plant. And so are they being rinsed thoroughly? I mean, that's like when you think about cookie dough, and your mom always, my mom always said, don't eat the cookie dough, it's raw. Because actually everybody thinks that's because of the eggs, and it's not. It's actually because of the flour. We should never be eating any kind of flour product before it's baked, because of, I hate to say this, but in every processing plant where there's oats or flour or grain, there is a certain ratio of rat poop that is allowed to be in your product. I mean, it's very minute, but it could be enough to make somebody very sick. So that's why they always say you should not eat raw cookie dough. It has nothing to do with the eggs. It's strictly the flour.
Okay.
Probably something you didn't want to know. Sorry.
You're right.
That's a great tip. I'm loving that one.
Pardon me?
I said, that's a great tip, Cindy. I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, people, I think in the old days, everybody thought it was the eggs, and it's actually not. It's the flour.
Who knew?
Same thing with pizza dough or something. You shouldn't eat raw pizza dough, and there's no eggs in that.
Mhm.
So now I'm pouring the coffee into another bowl. And this is like a Marcella type liqueur. So I always use this. And to me, this is the perfect ratio of flavor for, you don't taste a lot of liquor, if any, in the tiramisu. It just does something to the flavoring of the coffee. So I did boil the coffee strong and put sugar in the coffee. It's already in there. It's not real sweet, but it's got a little sugar in there. And then I'm going to use the alcohol. If you do not want to use the alcohol, you can always use vanilla in its place. So I did give everybody, this is the perfect size pan for what we're doing. So we're going to put our egg mixture to the side because we're going to put down a layer of lady fingers first. So this recipe is perfect for one package of lady fingers. You're going to have 3 little pieces that are left over, and those 3 little pieces are good to dip into the egg mixture and try it. So I always put gloves on because I don't like coffee stained fingers. Obviously, I'm doing this for home because I've touched everything. My husband will be very happy. He gets tiramisu again. I did a class last night, so he gets it 2 nights in a row. So my secret for making sure that I get this at the right, because it's very important not to keep them soaking in the liquid too long. So I put it in and count. 1, flip it, 2, flip it, 3. Get the liquid off of it and lay it in my pan. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. So we're going to go straight across, and then we're going to, we're not going to have enough room to go that way on the end. So I'll show you once I get these done. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you're only going to put 6 across, and you'll see by the time we get to the other side, these will start puffing up a little bit and they will actually fill in. One, 2, 3. So now I'm going to lay this that direction. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. So right here, you're going to have a little extra. So you just snap that edge off and fit it in. And that's what I was saying. Now you can take this little edge, dip it in your egg, and you can try it. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I soak too much up and I don't have exactly the right amount of coffee. When I start noticing that maybe I'm not going to have enough to do all of them, I just add a tap, just a touch of water, just enough to get me through it. Because the coffee is very strong. So now I have my first layer complete. And you see how they're starting to fill in because they puff up with the coffee. The gaps are starting to fill in. So once we get to this position, I always like mark a half point. I take half of my egg mixture and put it on top. So we're just going to smooth this out across. My customers think I'm talking to myself.
As long as you're enjoying the company, it's okay.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is you want to make sure that I'm going to put this exactly the way I had it. Where my top is, this is my long ways, where I went this way, and then here's the view that I went sideways, because we're going to actually want to do it the opposite so that when you cut into it, it looks very pretty because the later fingers will be going like this. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're going back to our second package of lady fingers. Hey, Gabby. You know where all my colanders are? There's that little screen, round screen.
What?
There's a little round screen.
Okay.
I need that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to lay it this way this time. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Need anything else?
Nope, that's it. So what's nice about this recipe, if you just like a little bit more cream, then you can just make it 4 eggs instead of 3, but do everything the same. Okay. How's everybody doing? Good? So once we get that far, we're going to put the rest of our cream. How's everybody doing? Good?
Good.
So the last step is the chocolate. So I just use a screen, like a mini colander. I kind of gypped myself on the chocolate. I usually like more than that. Not that I need it. This has to be the fastest class I've ever done. Last night I did this class, it took an hour with adults. But they were bankers. Maybe that was the problem, right?
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
So they say 3 hours in the refrigerator before you cut it, but you can stick it in the freezer for about 20 to 30 minutes and you can actually go ahead and cut a piece if you don't want to wait.
Can we see everyone's efforts?
Pardon me?
Can we see everyone's efforts?
Perfect. That'd be great.
Cindy, was this a special kind of chocolate? It's not as deep as cocoa, you know.
It's just the special dark. That's it. Just the special dark chocolate. That's it.
And you just use like Hershey's cocoa or?
Yeah, you can. That's fine. Yeah, I have a vendor that's trying to sell me espresso powder, and I don't want coffee on top
No.
too. I want chocolate on top.
Yeah. It was a
Can
really good
Can we open-
demonstration. You did a really good job of being very clear and
Yeah.
made it look easy.
Can we
Well,
open
it
up?
was easy. It was
Can we-
easy.
Can we, oh, there we go. I didn't see everyone's efforts.
I'm making mine later.
Oh. Hi,
See, consistency. I think they all look very consistent. That's
know.
good.
Trissa. I used my mom's old fashioned sifter for my cocoa.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah, yeah. I have my mom's too at home.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you so much. This
Thank
was
you
tons
so
of
much.
fun.
This
I
was
would love to do this again.
So we're thinking, last night I did pasta class and then tiramisu. Maybe next time we do it, we could do raviolis.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
That would be awesome.
This is really
Yeah.
fun. And it's nice to be in your own kitchen. I know it's a downside of COVID, but it's kind of nice to be able to make it at home with your own stuff.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Because that way no one can see you licking your fingers so much either. Yeah.
and it was wonderful to have everything all ready for us and all measured and everything. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do the same with the ravioli, and then I separate the ingredients for the cheese, and then we make cheese ones, and we also make a sausage. And so I separate the ingredients and the dough, so it's very easy. You just pull out a bag for each one. We start making the dough, then we pull the next bag, we do the cheese. It's easy to, when you're making several different things, it's easy to confuse the ingredients.
Oh, this
That
is
looks
Thank
great.
you, thank you.
thank you.
So if I recall, are we videotaping this, Miss Jennifer?
Yes, I've recorded it.
Yes, so everyone, just so you know, we are recording today's cooking class and we'll be sharing it on. Go ahead, Jennifer.
We will share it on the Licking County Community Center's YouTube channel.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's
Well,
great.
Could you
Although
send me the-
I really might not have licked my fingers so many times if I'd known.
Okay.
That's good. Well, thank you
Thanks for having
everyone.
me.
Jennifer, thank you. Cindy, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thanks for the tip to get it to freeze quicker so that I can eat it sooner. I appreciate
Oh, yeah, 3 hours is a long time.
that
to
time.
wait. Yes, yeah.
Although with this much coffee, I'm not sure I'd want to be eating it too late either. I'd be up until tomorrow.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Might be
Wonderful,
worth it.
thank you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Have a great night, everyone.
Mhm.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.